Hey, y'all, it's Ron. I am here in the Y'all 106.7 studios with Darryl Worley. Darryl, welcome in. This is
man.
awesome.
I feel like I'm getting an awesome chance to get on this sort of brand new format with you guys and yak for a minute or two.
Well, man, we really appreciate you coming in. And you're doing something special in town the whole month, going right through Christmas, right?
Yes, we play our last show out there at Gaylord on Opryland Hotel on Christmas Day. So we've been there since Thanksgiving Day, and it's the Darryl Worley dinner show. Darryl Worley and Friends, home for the holidays. Trying to get all this stuff right. It's just magical.
It is,
It's
and
truly,
there's you can get dinner and a show, so it's the whole package.
Yes, and people are carrying on about the food. So it's just, I said from the get-go, to have an opportunity to share like what I bring from my childhood, even as in the Christmas spirit, for me to be able to kind of create that ultimate atmosphere and share all that with people from all over the globe. I mean, they come in from everywhere. It's a grand opportunity, and I'm just, it's sort of like I have to pinch myself to, believe that it's happening. I mean, we've kind of, I guess you could say we've pitched it for a while. It's just unbelievable. The guys are my band. They're like, they're over on each side of the stage every night, high-fiving and carrying on, because they've never made this much money in a month of December. I take December off to deer hunt and duck hunt, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great!" So it's just across the board. It's a grand experience, and we're very thankful. And I think the show is powerful. It has a great message, and we're excited about that. So you got to come see us.
And you do some of your hits, some of the Christmas stuff, some new, some classics, it's a little mixture of everything.
We play original Christmas music. I've written at least one song of every type. So we open the show usually with a original song that I wrote over 20 years ago about being on the road and trying to get back home in time for Christmas. Sort of a very true to life thing, because we were trapped once in Afghanistan in a huge snowstorm. Well, it was technically in Uzbekistan, because we finally made it out of Bagram Air Base, and we flew to K2, and it used to be a southern province of Russia. Now they're independent, but we have a base there. We went there to do a show on Christmas Eve and almost didn't get out of there. And we got back home late, but still we made it home for Christmas. And so that's kind of where the idea. And then we do, of course, classic Christmas songs. We talk a lot about, gift giving and all this other stuff. But then there's definitely a spiritual side to our show. That was one of the things we talked about in the very, very early running, was that I don't do Christmas without Christ. And so there's a really strong message in that direction as well. And it's just full of a lot of different things. I have guests that come, like it's a different set of guests every week. This week is Billy Gilman and Andy Griggs, but we've had Dina Carter and the Isaacs already.
Lori Morgan's
coming,
right.
And Andy comes back for a few days because Lori couldn't do the whole week. But we also have Billy Dean that's going to be in there for a week as well. It's got
to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's incredible, especially having all these different artists. It's a little bit of work for us because we have to learn new songs every week and make sure we're up on. And that can be tough because everything starts to run together. But I'm not complaining. And I've got my family up here now, and Savannah, my daughter, may sing in the show. She is on the fence because she's came to the rehearsals, did amazing. Then the first night that she got up on that stage in front of all those tables and chairs, the room will hold over 1,000 people, so right. And there's a lot of tables in there. It was something she'd never really experienced before, and it got a hold of her pretty good. And I said, baby, that's just part of this business. You got to bite your lip and step out on faith and do it. But we'll see what happens with that. And one of the things too that Gaylord has just been amazing is as you know, my career has had tons to do with our military, our public servants, our first responders. So we have an incredible discount in place for those guys. And like I said, Gaylord Opryland have been huge to honor that and help us put that in place. If I'm not mistaken, if you're military and you go on there to buy tickets, if you use the code, just the word military for the code, you get a $20 discount on tickets. Same with first responders, except the code is HERO. And is that correct? I think I'm right on the money.
Yeah, my notes say the same thing, so we're good. Yeah, and they just go to Christmas at GaylordOpryland.com and they can find
That's easy to remember.
Yeah, I know, it just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
That was not, I didn't do that.
But you could go there, you can put in, the codes, and I was going to bring that up because I think that's so important to give back to the military. Obviously, you've done that through your entire career. Yes. You've traveled around the world, and you wanted to fly. I was going to ask, and I tried to Google search this.
Oh,
and I knew you're a big dude. You're 6'6" and
almost 6'7".
Oh,
it doesn't work for our fighter jets. It took me a while to figure all that out.
But did you ever? Do you fly? Did you get a pilot's license?
I actually was in the process of getting my private pilot license, and had had kind of a bizarre thing happen in one of my. It was the flight with my instructor just before I would start soloing.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happened, when we landed, I told him, I said, you know what? I'm not really feeling this anymore. And I said, I'm going to leave this to you pilots. It was uncomfortable in that plane for me anyway with my height and everything. Sure. I was having a little trouble with, and I said, I'm probably not ever going to be able to afford a plane larger than this plane. And so anyway, I just gave it up.
So I have to ask, was it the military part of the, you're coming out of high school, that you want to fly because to be part of the military, or did you just want to be in the air and soar? And
my family, we have a heavy duty military tradition in our family, and it's not just, it's on both sides. It's on my mother's side and my father's side. So on my mother's side, it's all Navy. Mm-hmm. On my dad's side, it's all Army, and everybody kind of, I don't want to say they do the same thing, because we've obviously got some guys that sort of specialize and that are a part of very elite groups and do pretty incredible stuff. But the one thing that we didn't have was a lot of pilots, and we had never had anybody that I know of in the family in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. My older brother wanted to fly fighter jets, but he wanted to land on an aircraft carrier. So the deal with that. And I thought, well, that'd be so cool. If he's going to do that, I'm going to fly for the Air Force, and I'm going to land on some solid ground. I'm going to be the guy that
much safer.
When I go to work for Southwest, y'all are going to love me. Not my brother so much. Right. But anyway, he gets nominated for Annapolis, Maryland Naval Academy, and was going to go the following year. Started college a year early and fell in love and just never walked away from that because he had eye issues that were going to keep him from being the pilot. He could have navigated or whatever, and it's so weird because nowadays they could care less about that. Right. If you can handle the G's and all that, your vision's not really important, because the plane flies itself and it sees things that you'd never see. So, right. And then for me, I was actually squared away to go into the Air Force. My cousin was like my recruiter, and I, the guy that they sent down with him, he was way up in the ranks. He that day, a couple of my other friends joined, and he came over to me and put his arm around me and said, "Boss, I'm tall for the Air Force, and you're 2 inches taller than me." And he said, "I just want you to know up front that you're not going to ever be able to get into a fighter jet." And I was like, all bummed out. I didn't go. Yeah. Years later, when I'm flying over to Kuwait or Afghanistan on a C-17, I thought, oh man, this would have been amazing to fly one of these big, huge monsters. It's just being young and not knowing what's out there. But anyway, so it was such a natural thing for me to want to serve and give back to all those who serve. So made my family very proud. I've been around the world who knows how many times. Been to the war zones in Afghanistan and Iraq. Who knows how many times. 13, 14 times. Been to this most dangerous southern islands of the Philippines, been to Honduras, been to Japan, been everywhere in the world you can go really to entertain the troops, and we just would still be doing it right now if things weren't, so wacky and bizarre in some regions. So it's very surreal, but probably the most incredible part of my career.
What's it's everything's fate, right? Everything's kind of meant to be, and so your height kept you out of the military. But then you have another opportunity to give back and probably do more good for the military than you would have behind the seat, with a stick in your hand.
The Sergeant Major of the Army, everybody thinks that we toured, solely with USO. We truthfully, we hardly did any USO stuff. We did this Sergeant Major of the Army tour, which had a USO affiliation. But when we went with him, there was big shows at night on big air bases, and that was kind of more the USO type. But every day he flew out to where the fighting was happening to visit soldiers and find out what they needed wherever they were. And we made every one of those flights with him. He asked us the first day that I was there if we wanted to do that, and I said, you don't have to ask anymore. You just tell us when to be ready, and we'll be sitting here with these flat-top guitars, and we'll go. And sometimes we'd stand on top of a Bradley tank, and there'd be 40 guys out there that just came in off of a mission, and we'd play a few songs for them. But that was the coolest stuff I ever done in my whole life.
That's amazing. And thank you for doing that. I mean, that's amazing.
It was a great opportunity.
So 2024 is around the corner. I know you're already getting busy. That's got to be fun to look ahead.
Yes. And to look ahead and see that instead of, dead January, dead February, it's tough. So that's part of the music business, but we're super excited with things that are happening.
Well, good. I appreciate you coming in. The Gaylord show's amazing. They do need reservations, so they once again go back to Christmas@GaylordOpry.com. I had to read it each time. It is a mouthful. But again, for the first responders and military, use the special codes, and you can save on the tickets and enjoy just an amazing night out. Get to see you perform, get to see your special guests, and have a great dinner.
Yes.
I mean, what a fun night, right?
Yeah,
Bring the
absolutely.
whole family and come out.
It is a ton of fun. We've been having incredible, and I'd like to speak out to folks in the Nashville area because I've lived here for 20-something years, and I've got so many friends out there. A lot of them, like you change cell phones, and that this or that contact doesn't transfer over. I've thought of so many people that I wish that I could make aware that we're doing this. Because I know they'd come out, and I'd love to have, and a bunch of them have, they'll come by the meet and greet when it's over, and I'm like, So I think we got our preacher from Lebanon or Mount Juliet area, and a bunch of folks coming from the church that we used to go to. So that kind of stuff is fun. So if you hear us talking about this, you got a evenings free. Please take a look at your schedule and come out and see us because it's a ton of fun, and it's just. We think we've done something special. I'm sure everybody that ever did this show thinks the same thing, but the show is a bit of a roller coaster ride, and it ends with a big moment and a great message. We're proud of that.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for hanging out at y'all.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here. I can't tell you how exciting this is for me. I'm like, I'll be telling a bunch of people, hey, I got on there before you did.
That's a great story, and please do that. Absolutely. Well, Darryl, thanks for coming in, and best of luck, and I hope everything's a huge success and a great 2024.
Thank you, man.